What's going on, guys? Episode 8 of the Our Culture podcast, and today we have a special guest, Hunter Labrada, who just flew in from good old Texas. He's here for the weekend. He's going to be filming some content. We have Nick as well, and we have Matt. And I think the first question that we wanted to ask, or basically talk to them about, is why they chose to, I guess, represent Revive. You know, why did you pick Revive to be the brand that you chose to get into a contract with? So you can go first, Hunter.
Okay. Yeah.
And then from there, we'll go to Nick.
Well, first and foremost, I'll talk about like the nuts and bolts of the actual like supplements. So before you and I got hooked up, and before I was a Revive athlete, it was one of those things. I was, going to a nutrition store for individual ingredients XYZ, and then ordering this off of Amazon, and wondering about the quality of this TUDCA versus that TUDCA, and it was just a hodgepodge of health supplements. Like originally, whenever like Revive came out, it wasn't even like, ooh, I want to be with them for any other reason that I could be with one company that I know tests their shit. I know what's on the bottle is in the bottle, and I don't have to worry about it. It's just like pop them open and take them every single day. So it became very easy for me to take care of my health supplements. And, as, time went on and I kind of saw what y'all were doing, it definitely is a, the podcast called Our Culture, but, it's a culture that, like you want to be a part of. I know it's kind of y'all's thing was to make being healthy cool, and, you feel like y'all have established that at this point, so, It was a no-brainer for me, just in terms of the actual supplements, and then like I said, like the culture that y'all are building, and then just the visibility that comes with being a Revive athlete. I feel like we're one of the leaders and the leader in the health supplement market. So I don't like working with companies that aren't what I consider the best, and obviously I consider Revive one of the best. That's why I'm here.
That's an awesome answer.
Yeah, I think it's cool. Like what you said at the beginning of that about the hodgepodge of supplements. That's one of the reasons why we started this.
I have your text message.
We had we had that same conversation, because he knew from a coaching perspective what I was giving people and how they were, sourcing it. And that's how it started. He was like, why don't we just do this ourselves?
It's a convenience factor, right? Because I remember with you, it was like, dude, I spend this many people to Amazon every month to buy all this shit.
Well, dude, just off the top of my head, look at liver. I was buying milk thistle, I was buying N-acetylcysteine, and I was buying TUDCA.
Yeah, right.
I take one bottle now, and then I get the bioperine that increases the absorption. Yeah. It's better and all in one. You know, so.
And that was, I literally remember texting you, and you're like, dude, it's just so convenient that I can get all my shit from one place. I have the text message still. Yeah. And it was like, it's true. And that's how everybody feels. Granted, we're not the cheapest, and we're never going to be the cheapest. Like, that's not our business model. Coming
from what I do, Labrada, we've been third-party testing everything from the jump. I know how expensive it is to test stuff.
Yeah.
And especially when you're doing every single run like y'all are. I'm very aware.
Yeah.
Health has no price, though, so...
Well, you know that, and you know that because
but
your career.
I would always spend the money on, third-party tested things that I know are going to work.
Of course.
That's what a lot of people
that's
don't
why
understand.
we did it, right? If I didn't think it was going to work, I wouldn't have done it in the first place. But getting into it, we were told a million times, no one gives a shit about health. You're barking up the wrong tree. These guys only care about all the shit they can inject in their ass. And it was like, at that point, I was like, well, I don't agree. I don't agree. And we learned really quickly that it was the total opposite, because all the big players in the sport, like I would be texting Matt screenshots of Shopify, like, yo, look who just bought our shit. And they'd be like, oh my God. And we would go back and forth and do that for months. And it's funny because those guys are sponsored by other companies, but they buy all of our shit.
Exactly.
And they can't even talk about it. So they're giving away the shit they get from their supplement companies, and they're buying our stuff, which is cool. It means we're doing something right. But now it takes the younger generation, like you guys, to come out and explain how important it is, because if it isn't for you, no one's going to do it. Yeah. Jay Cutler, all those boys, they did it right. Jay Cutler's healthy. He's older. He looks great. How many bodybuilders do you know besides your dad?
I was just about to open up my mouth and be like, I've got back home the best example ever. Exactly. He's 62 years old with no joint replacements, no internal issues.
That's rare, right?
Yeah. It's extremely rare.
But they take care of themselves, and you got to see it your whole life. But most people don't get to see that. They get to see, for lack of a better word, someone like Ronnie. I love Ronnie, but he's in a bad place. That happens. You just need to take care of yourself. And you guys are the forefront, both of you, of your generation of bodybuilding. If you ask anyone in the United States right now or in the world right now, the two best young bodybuilders, it's both of you. You guys are literally paving the way for the next generation of bodybuilding.
Oh, for sure.
You know, and it's cool to see, and I think like you guys don't realize how impactful you guys are. I mean, how many people eat ass now because you tell them to eat ass on Instagram?
Everyone's eating ass.
Everyone hopping on the train.
I mean, there's probably guys all over the world right now with their minds blown because the girls are eating their ass now.
Mm-hmm. I help them out a ton.
That's what I'm saying.
People's budgets are being blown because of Starbucks.
The man, the myth, the legend, dude. Starbucks ain't cheap.
Starbucks
No.
you both of you fuckers.
Starbucks ain't cheap.
$5 a day.
Starbucks ain't cheap. Yeah, $5 a day if you're buying it for yourself. Now you factor in you're going to
three
train
other
with
people,
someone and
yeah.
your training partner expects it because
Yeah.
you always show up 20 minutes late.
Yeah.
Might as well have coffee when you show up late, right?
Oh shit! But it's important to understand that like you didn't even know about Starbucks until you moved here. You
Pretty
started
much.
getting
It's my
Starbucks, and then you have half of your following addicted to Starbucks.
I did.
You know, it's
Yeah.
just it's
Should have
so,
talked to Duncan before you came down here. Give him an offer. Give him a chance to keep you on the Northeastern coffee wave.
right.
Yeah. But I appreciate the fact that we have you guys here and you guys are able to do that because it's like I said, you guys are gonna help a lot of people through this, and you guys are gonna help a lot of people become healthy and do it the right way.
Well, yeah, it's important to me because as you both see all the negativity I get on my Instagram that I'm going to die in 3
I
5
would love
years.
to show people your blood work because it'd be.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and I want people to see that not only do I take care of my health, but Revive works because of my blood
Well, we're
work.
giving away blood work to prove it now. So if that's not enough,
And that's
to
another
prove it,
thing.
yeah.
So if any kid can learn from me, it's just stay on top of your health.
I think if any kid can learn from both of you guys, it's truly been like if to me and Matt, and I think this will hold true to both of you. It's who you surround yourself with that makes you successful.
There you go.
Like you have a ecosystem around you that is just like absolutely fantastic. You have an ecosystem around you that it's just there's no room for negativity. All we do is just make sure you're good, and vice versa.
People talk about all the time how it's like an individual sport. That's
not an individual
bullshit.
No, it's not.
Even if you were able to do it all yourself, do you know how fucking miserable it is to be
Yeah.
doing it all by
Yeah.
yourself? Like it's not
Being
going to be
lonely in
anywhere
the
near
sport
where
isn't
to be
fun.
if you got that team around you.
You need that. You
You
need
do.
that positive support system to just be there for whatever it is that you guys need.
100%.
And you guys have proven that. Like, you can't argue it.
No.
There's no one that's going to say, oh, well, they're not success. Like, you guys are the most successful because of you, your work ethic, and who you surround yourself with.
We started talking, I think it was 2015, 2014?
Dude, so I don't know if
Because
you
I'm
remember.
going
I don't know if
through
you
this.
remember
No,
this or not,
yeah.
but the very first show I ever did was like the Branch Warren in 2015, and I was working with the guy that like my dad worked with whenever he was competing, and then they like did some like stuff together afterwards, diet wise and stuff. But it was one of those things like he's really good at getting like lifestyle people into shape, or like, oh hey, I'm doing my first NPC show and I want to look good for it.
Sure.
So that's obviously I was a little past that even for my first show. So yeah, I actually reached out to Matt and like paid him for like a one-time consult to peak me for my first show and everything. So
But what I was getting at in that is I think as much as you want to talk about, I think I've known from you that health has always been a priority in terms of, I think you've based your bodybuilding structure off of what you learned from your dad.
yeah.
So, like, talk about that. Like, what exactly did you learn from your dad? What did he tell you about the health side of things? What did he do? Not necessarily in terms of vitamin use, but, like, just his overall structure of his seasons.
Yeah, so, when Lee was competing, obviously a little different than when we're doing it right now. When Lee was competing, it was very much so like the regular thing. Like, you do the Arnold if you wanted to do the Arnold in March, and then, the Olympia hit, and everyone went into the Olympia knowing after they did that Olympia, they're going overseas, and they're doing, like, these Grand Prix tours, competing 7-8 times in 10 or 12 weeks. So it's really interesting to hear about how he managed that, like, peaking time and time again.
Sure,
it's
sure.
cool hearing the stories. Like, they'd go over there, and, like, everyone would be on point for the first show. Everyone would look pretty good for the second show, and, like, by the time that third show rolled around, like, half the guys are just, like, they couldn't
hold
continue to
together.
peak it.
Sure. Yeah.
They're sitting there eating a bunch of bullshit after each show, and
Sure.
it's just able to continually to replicate the peak week after week after week. And I'm getting to a point with this is he wasn't abusing his body. He was doing what he knew worked for him. He was doing things that could be taken in and put back in like very, easily
Sure.
and not having any like bad health ramifications. And I think that's one of the biggest things. And, Lee's, this is he's told me a bunch of awesome shit about bodybuilding, but one of the best ones, and it's one that I've had to keep in mind because I started doing it really young like Nick, is bodybuilding's a marathon, not a sprint. Yeah. I still remember being 15, 16 years old, and it was football at the time, but not bodybuilding. But, it's whenever the legit pro hormones were out. Not what's out now, but like the original OG pro hormones. And, I'm watching all of my friends, put on like 20 fucking pounds in 2 months, and I'm sitting here, taking my lunch bag with, 4 peanut butter and jellies and leftovers from the night before and still eating a school lunch and training my dick into the dirt and watching everyone go like that around me. And, I trust my dad enough I went home and like, dude, can I do this? And he was like, absolutely not. You'll regret it in the long term. And, fast forward even to like 18 years old, those same kids that were getting into it at 16 were the ones walking around with bitch tits and they were skinny fat. Yep. And, it's bodybuilding's a marathon, not a sprint. So it's been super steady over the years, and I think that's one of the biggest things. You talk about how Nick and I are healthy and kind of like pushing at the forefront. If you looked at what I looked like even like 3 years ago, you'd be like, that guy's not going to be a good pro. And it's just one of those things you got to keep your head down and stick to it and work. And I feel like everyone who wants to do bodybuilding, like at least I at the time, like whenever I was that age, I'd go online, I'd research and like, okay, well, what are the guys doing that like are where I want to be, and you read this absolute bullshit, on forums about how, oh, well, don't even bother being a pro bodybuilder unless you want to take 20 IUs of growth a day and 5 grams of gear a week and this, that, and another. And it's just, it's such a bad misconception because all of the best bodybuilders I know are on less shit than like most people take for a local show. I know. It's just that's brass tacks of it. All the time. There are more. There are people who do local men's physique shows were taking more shit than I was taking for the Olympia. Most of them.
I agree 100%.
And it's crazy to me.
I always get asked about you. I don't even remember who the last person who asked me was. They were like, "What does he take?" And I'm like, "It's not a lot." Like, it's not, he doesn't take insulin. Like, and there's no fucking way.
Everything in your body is like a cup. Once it's filled up, you can keep on pouring shit in, and it's just going to overflow, and you got to deal with all the sides from it.
And that's where all the sides come from. That's what people don't understand. Like, more isn't always better. Like, it's really never better. At all. Unless it's talking about getting your ass eaten. Maybe that's better, but.
Sky's the limit on that one. Very anabolic.
But yeah, no, it's totally true. I couldn't agree with you guys more. And I think that it's going to show. One of the things that I've always noticed about like you guys and people who are successful in the bodybuilding community, and Matt will probably attest to this too, is that you guys don't like when you were amateurs at least like you had a goal and you stuck to that goal and you did that. You weren't like doing show after show after show after show after show and just destroying yourself in the process. You can't grow if you're doing 5-6 shows a year.
I would want to compete like once a year.
Well, that's that, and then like it's one of my favorite questions you get asked. Yeah. Was like, well. Like, when did you start bodybuilding? I was like, well, I quit playing football my freshman year of college when I was 18 years old, and I didn't step on stage until I was 25.
Yeah.
And then you won the Europa, right?
Didn't go to nationals the next year.
Yes, I remember. There was so much, talk about that. You won the Europa, looked wild.
I didn't even go to a national show the next year. The next show that I did was a junior national show.
Yeah.
Dude, bodybuilding's changed so much. Like, back in the day when my dad was doing it.
That's what you were supposed to do.
Bro, right. My dad won his weight class at nationals. You know what that gave him? The privilege to go compete for a pro card at Mr. Universe. Okay? It wasn't first and second place pro cards in every single division. So it's changed a little bit. Yeah. For sure.
And I say this all the time, but I think if bodybuilders structured like you guys have done, structure their seasons more like athletic sports seasons, that's what's missing. It's missing from the metabolic side. It's missing that's also too why you have so many health ramifications. Mm-hmm. Even with bikini girls, why they rise to the sport and disappear in 2.5-3 years is because they're running nonstop for 3 years straight in a diet.
Destroy
and
their metabolism.
They can't figure out why they can't get in shape anymore.
Yeah, and there's no such thing as an off season to 99% of bikini girls.
Right.
Well, that's the kind of, I feel like that's like most guys too. Like, they never really give themselves a chance. They'll get done with the show and they'll be back in prep for the next one after, like barely cleaning themselves out. And it's like people freaked out about how much progress that I've made and how much progress has he made. But how much have we competed in the last 2 or 3 years? It's been 1, maybe 2 shows a year.
And the truth behind the matter, and I'll say this, is with both of you, and I can attest to this because I see you every day. Whether you're competing or not competing, you're doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, just the food amounts change.
Everything is there.
Same food, it just goes up, and then it goes down.
I think people get so excited about getting into off season and doing all this eating, and it's like that's not what
this is. That's not what off season is.
It's not what it is.
Those are the people that have completely shot their appetites 3 weeks into their off season because they're eating all the shit.
Yeah. Off season time to grow.
Your trough just gets bigger. that bowl you use.
I go from a bowl like this to a bowl like this.
Bowl?
No, that was the only bowl I could find in there. Yeah, I had my pre-workout cream of rice out of like a mixing bowl.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Okay. Let's hit the questions.
What did you do?
All right. So before
While you're looking for questions, Hunter, what have you enjoyed doing since the Olympia?
Oh God.
Just scroll.
So we got.
This is something that people talk about often.
No,
so
yeah,
it's
we
like
got done with the
relaxing
Olympia,
whatever
and
you've done.
you know, the funnest thing that I really got to do was just, you know, take a step back and enjoy the family. Because it was kind of weird, you know, obviously the Olympia got moved, so I was dieting through Thanksgiving and everything.
Right.
And, you know, Thanksgiving this year is one of those things, like I went and said hi to the family and then left because I just didn't want to be around everyone eating, you know? So we got done with the Olympia, I think it was like, December 19th or something. So I got home on the 21st and it was like, family Christmas party, family Christmas, you know, New Year's with all my friends. And, you know, last year was a long year for me because we did, you know, I was originally supposed to compete May 17th.
Right.
So I started prep February 1st.
Yeah.
And, you know, there were some periods there where I was able to eat a little looser, but, you know, I was switched on from February 1st until December. So, you know, it was nice to be able to take a step back. And, you know, training's what I love to do, so the training never stopped. It just, you know, training on food, you know how it goes. It's a lot more fun getting to do it with my friends. But, yeah, just getting to see my family and getting to relax and, you know, decompress a little. I'm sure you know, and I know you know. You know, you get done with the show and you wake up the morning after and you're like, what do you mean I don't have to go get on the stairs? What do you mean I can go get breakfast with my friends? You know, like,
feel lost for a second.
you know, it's weird. It's like, you know, especially after being on prep for 10 months last year, it was really weird. So it took me a little bit to adjust, but it was good.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, you ready for this?
Yeah.
All right. So before we started this, we did a poll about who to or like questions for the podcast. So we're gonna ask the questions that I have Nick's phone. So here we go. Question number 1.
Here goes. Are you into bum stuff as much as Nick? Question number 1.
Question number 1. I mean, I don't think I can possibly be in the bum stuff as much as Nick does after he's literally become famous for the butt stuff. So, I mean, this is the resident butt stuff expert for sure. Direct all the butt stuff questions to him.
The resident ass man. All right, this one is good. So this one says, is there anything that you are going to do differently this prep than others? And if yes, then what? Good luck, bro.
No.
Same thing.
We're pretty much doing the same thing. We take it day by day. I don't think any prep is really the same, but we're just taking the same steps as of right now.
Ooh, this is a good one. Which one of you looks better in a Roth crop?
Oof. He hasn't been in a Roth crop, so I
haven't
think
been
I
in a
win
Roth
by
crop.
default.
Okay.
We need to send Nick a Roth crop.
You got me over there?
Let me see. Oh, have you announced your show for this year?
Not yet.
Okay, so somebody's asking if you're doing Vancouver. Or if that's on the radar.
I have a time period in mind, and Vancouver isn't that time period, but yeah, I don't know yet. I'm kind of waiting for
Can we get to Canada?
everything to get a little more solidified. Huh?
What would you like to do?
Dude, I don't know. I was looking at the schedule, and like Chicago on one schedule was like July 3rd and 4th, and then like somewhere else like a day or two ago it was like in October sometime. I need to like figure out
Really?
the actual schedule. Yeah, but
Oh, where's this? I thought there was a really good one in here. This kid says, if I was to make buttholes and big spoon shirts with hashtag bring the heat, would you rock it?
I'd rock the shit out of it.
That's what I figured.
End of discussion.
like, actually, it's already at the printer. Thanks
Yeah,
for
right?
the idea, though.
It's already being pre-made.
This one's really weird. Would you rather sit on a dick and eat cake or sit on
You've
a
already been
cake
asked
and
that.
I've
eat
asked
dick?
that. There's a trick to it. You got to turn the dick sideways.
You don't sit.
No penetration.
Yeah.
You just got to sit on it.
Trying to pull the same shit. You ain't tricking me again. Been there, done that.
There's so many boogeyman questions.
You can ask a few. You already just said it.
He's like, come on with it.
Okay. All right, hold on, wait. Well, I guess this is the best one to start. Where did the beef start? How did the smoke between you and Blessing start?
Well, originally, I posted a progress picture that said 15 weeks out from New York Pro. And then he commented on it and said, okay, I'll see you there, with a smiley face. And then, I guess, about a week later, Generation Iron made a huge post saying, an article saying Blessing versus Nick Walker at the New York Pro. And then Blessing reposted it and said, bets that I'll smoke this kid in 13 weeks. And then I made my video, and then it just escalated from there. And it hasn't stopped.
What is Blessing's weak point in a judge's perspective?
Everything.
Oh, God. But, all right.
There's really nothing good over here.
Yeah,
I want to see a picture of you, Natty.
Whose rivalry will be better, Ian Hunter or you and Blessing?
Ian and Hunter. I'm not. There's no rivalry with an IG influencer.
Accurate.
Honestly, though, I think long term, this right here.
This is the real rivalry.
We'll have a good one.
I agree.
Yeah,
I was
we'll be
going to
duking
say
it
that.
out.
Yeah.
This is the rivalry, not me and Blessing.
Yeah.
That's a joke.
Do you think Blessings will make first call-outs?
No.
That was just
He's
my
going to
answer.
stare at my
That
glutes
wasn't
when I'm in
my
first call-outs.
Hardest show to date. What was your hardest show to date?
Chicago, I guess.
What about you?
The one with 4 Mr. Olympias in it.
Makes sense.
I would say that's a valid answer.
Yeah. They're all ridiculous questions.
I bet they
The
are.
only one in there that was really cool was who is your favorite bodybuilder of all time? Ask both of you guys that and why.
Jay Cutler.
Why?
Because he was one of the greatest bodybuilders. He had a great work ethic.
Okay.
And within that, he was a great businessman.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take that one step further because Jay's one of my favorites too. He put the fans first, from
That
the
too.
jump, and not only the fans but like the community and the promoters. Like I've been talked to promoters that I've done guest posings for that do business with Cuts a lot, and like they're like, yeah, he's still, like whenever he first came out, he was charging X amount of dollars, and 8 years later when he was like multiple time Mr. Olympia, he was still doing me at that same rate, and we still have him out for that rate still, and he still loves to be a part of it, and
Yeah.
Just another example, like Houston Fit Expo, it happens every single year, and like everyone, like the random ass Instagram influencers get out like the second that they can, and Jay's sitting there with a line, like literally having like the convention center people going, you have to go,
Yeah.
he just takes the time with people, and I
Yeah.
think him and guys like Flex Lewis and stuff, I think they really have it down, where it's we're able to do what we do because of the support that we get. So we give that support back.
It's crazy because I was in Vegas with Flex, and I just got back, and he said the exact same thing about Jay. I was talking to him, and he basically said that when he was younger, and he was still, he wasn't Flex yet. I think he worked for a moving company or something like that, and he came to Vegas, and he saw Jay we went to his house for the first time, and he was like, holy shit, like, I can do this sport and actually make a good living from it, And he said that's what really basically made him move here and just start becoming a full-time bodybuilder.
Yeah.
So I think he's influenced a lot of almost the majority.
And
of
then,
everybody.
you see the transition he made, it wasn't, just another broke bodybuilder after he got done with it.
Well, he's
He
doing it right, man.
invested the
He
money,
did it right.
he's multiplied it,
And not only
It's one
that-
thing to have money, it's another thing to make it grow and do something
Show
with
me
it.
a bodybuilder who's never tarnished their reputation besides your dad throughout his whole entire career.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
your dad is.
We've
doing a
talked about them
phenomenal
all on
job,
this
too.
podcast already,
Yeah.
I feel like. Flex,
Yeah.
Jay.
Yeah.
I mean, all those guys have they're spitting images of what you guys look, and you guys look up to the right people. You know what I mean? You're not looking up to anyone but the best and the best.
For sure.
So I don't see you guys doing anything but that either.
Something else too about Jay's influence is his friends within bodybuilding. I think he's really helped them. For example, Guy's sister Nina. When we went to his house last year, I was thrilled to see that Guy owned his own house. He wasn't in an apartment. He had success. He had taken care of his money right. And Guy said, I learned a lot from him, And I think that's what real friendship and that's what real leadership is all about, is leading guys in the right direction in terms of things that really matter.
I agree.
I think this sport there's so much bullshit in this sport already that it takes, I'm not in it like you guys are. I see it from the outside, and I only see, your guys' perspectives because I only talk to you guys. So I don't see the other side of it. But I think there's enough shitty people in the sport already. And I think that, having a camaraderie and, playful banter, going into a show, having the rivalries, that's all dope shit. I think that just makes the sport better.
It makes it
but
fun.
just being good people in general, being able to do stuff like this and being able to hang out and have a good time and, it's rare. It's very rare.
For sure, and you got to take a look at the sport or the industry we're talking about, and it's more often than not you'll hear guys, oh, I got into bodybuilding because I got bullied as a kid,
Sure.
or this, that, and another,
Sure.
and
Sure.
it's it's gonna set you up to be a little little strange about it, and I've always kind of said the same thing about it. You know, it's I got into bodybuilding because it was a sport that I wanted to do, not I want to get big so I can get girls, or I'm getting the shit kicked out of me so I want to put muscle on. I want to be the best at this sport, and I think that has a lot to do with it too. You know, it's
well, you can tell the difference between those people right away.
Yeah, it's a competitive outlet. Yeah, it was never I want to look this way because I'm not confident in myself. It's I want to look this way because I want to be the best in the world at this sport.
And when you finish football, you were like, what do I do now, bro?
Exactly.
Like, what am I going to do with my time? You know, this is a sport that you don't really.
You saying football, I think that's a good way to put it. You can really tell, at least in my experience, who came from a athletic background and who came from the I got bullied or I'm a narcissist and I just want to look cool background.
You can tell the best way about someone who's come from an athletic background in the sport? How they lose.
100%.
Yeah.
It's how they lose.
Yeah.
If you can lose with integrity and dignity and walk away and understand you lost because you lost, then you probably came from a team sport. And if you didn't do that, you were probably, you know, an only child who just can't deal with losing. And it's very easy to see. It's very easy to see how people take it after they lose. Look at what happened with you at Chicago. Like, I was pissed for you. You know, and granted, like, I wasn't there. I didn't see it firsthand, but I paid for the fucking whatever pay-per-view. I was looking at it all day. Do I think you deserved where you went? No. Do I think you could have done better? Yes. But do I think you handled it better than anyone who I thought would have handled it? Absolutely.
I don't even think any people know this. Do you remember the first thing you said to me when you got off stage?
No.
You said, what did I do wrong?
Yes, I did.
So, again, it wasn't pointing the finger. It wasn't, you know, screw this guy or the judges.
Fuck that judge.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's my... I can't stand that.
Yeah.
You're right.
That was the first thing you said.
Well, because I feel if I didn't win, it's something I did. Like, what do I need to do to be better?
An athlete.
Yeah.
Right.
That's because you're an athlete. If it wasn't, if you weren't an athlete, you would have been like
excuses.
Oh, fuck the judge, the coach is friends with that judge. Like the
shit.
Like the dumbest shit that you could put in your mind. Like Will does a great job of calling all those people out on Instagram. Like, no, you're fat. Like you didn't spill over. You're fat. But it's the truth, man, and you can see it in both of you guys. I mean, you don't really lose yet, really at all, but. I mean, the way you guys take constructive criticism, the way you guys grow from it, the way you guys know what you need to do, and the way you attack your goal, your job, right? This is your job.
Yeah.
This is your job. This is your full-time job. And you take it and you treat it the same way.
You guys both take very calculated risks.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that a lot of bodybuilders are missing. They're not calculated in their decision-making process. It's all just off of a whim a lot of times. You know, and that's what separates successful people from non-successful people. You know, in their health, you know, like we started out this podcast, especially with their health. Yeah. You know, they're just thinking that the short game of, I got to win this show, or I didn't win this show, so I'm just going to continue to run gear all year, or whatever it is, rather than taking calculated risks long term. Like the way you've structured not losing a show, that wasn't by chance. No. You planned that.
Well, it was planned, and then it was one of those things I had enough patience. I don't know. You see, well, focusing on the young, because obviously Nick and I are both young, so I get a lot of it. You know, people are in such a hurry to compete, and I think it comes down to knowing where you want to end up, having that long-term goal. I could have competed and won a teen overall at any show I wanted to when I was, 19 years old. I could have competed and probably won an overall locally when I was 21 or 22, but I didn't want to be a good amateur. I didn't want to be like the best amateur in Texas. Like I wanted to be the best pro in the world, and I knew, there's no fucking point to like diet down to 175 pounds or something to compete, So in my mind, it was always one of those things. I'm not going to do it until I'm ready. I'm going to, have the discipline to really take a step back and, be honest with myself about things and when I'm ready. And, it goes back to, having my dad in the corner, going like, well, this is how it was done when I did it. Right. And, I feel like it's like the junior national shows not giving pro cards to bodybuilders. I know everyone bitches about it, but I love it. I think you should have to go compete at a junior national show before, get your teeth wet, and, it's the next step. It's like, I don't know, it's like...
It used to be like that.
It did. Yeah.
Well, it used to be like that, for sure. And, I think everyone just gets in such a rush. They look at, like, the end goal and like, oh, I want to be where this was. Well, people look at me and they go, I want to be where Hunter is. He's only 28, like, whatever. I've been doing this every single day to the best of my ability since I've been 18 years old.
Yeah.
I've done it for a decade.
People don't understand that.
And that whole decade, I haven't spent any time pissing in the wind because of the people that I've had around me.
And
you know?
I think another thing people always, I'm sure you get this all the time, Hunter. It's like, oh, well, it's easy for Hunter because like his dad's Lee Labrada and he doesn't have to worry about anything and he can, just bodybuild all day and he doesn't have to worry about bills or whatever. And it's like, you probably got that now too, but it's like, you guys represented your names so well, like coming up in the sport, because like you didn't jump on every sponsor that came to you, because these kids want to get sponsored, right? These kids who are younger, they're getting into bodybuilding, how many of them reach, oh, I want to get a sponsor, how can I be a part of Revive, how can I do this? And it's like, you need to prove your value. Like, you need to become a valuable asset before you go after any sponsor, right? And like you didn't have a ton of money. You just did what you were supposed to do. You didn't tarnish your brand and your reputation, and you did the same thing. Like, you had a higher thing to look up to because you had to like be Lee Labrada's son. You know what I mean? Like when you were growing up, it's like, fuck, like I have to be the best. Like I don't even have a choice. And like when you were growing up, like you didn't have all the resources you needed, but you did it. And then now you have the financial capability to kind of pick and choose what you want to do. Yeah. And it's like, you have that ability because you didn't tarnish it on the way up. You know what I mean? How many people do you know by the time they're your age have gone through 15 fucking supplement companies?
A lot.
Every year, a new supplement company. We literally choose people that like specifically that don't do that. Like, we look back at people, even if people are with another company when we bring them on, like, we want them to lose that and be with nobody for a certain amount of time before we bring them on to Revive or Raw because of that specific reason. Like, you guys have done such a good job, and I keep going back to it to, like, basically teach the younger generation of bodybuilding what is the right way to do things. Because there's a ton of people telling them how to do it the wrong way. And you guys just need to continue doing what you're doing.
There's a ton of people telling them they have to do it the wrong way.
Yeah.
That's true, too.
There's a ton of people telling them there's no other way than the wrong way, and it couldn't be farther from the truth. It's those people that need the coaching money.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that going around.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen it. I've been out of that for so long until I've been around Matt, and I've seen Matt, and I've seen like how he talks to people and how he coaches people, and it's just very different. It's a very different approach than I've ever really seen, and it's more so because like I would have to say like you're pretty much like engulfed in their prep with them. You know what I mean? Like you're with them the whole step of the way, and now seeing you every day, it's just it's different. It's cool to see. It's cool to see that it doesn't have to be miserable. Like people, are always complaining. Like I've never heard you complain once ever. Like literally since I've met you, you have never complained once about having to eat something or do this or do that.
Dude, I get asked all the time. Like when I do Q&As, like a really popular question is like advice for my first show, and I say the same thing every single time. Competing in a bodybuilding show is a privilege.
Yep.
Yeah.
You are getting to eat 6 times a day. You are spending so much money on food. You are spending 3 or 4 hours of your day in the gym. You're not ignoring your family, but other areas of your life are taking a hit to do it. It is a privilege to do it.
Yep.
And to sit here and just whine to the world about how you're starving and this, that, and another because of your own choice to do something that you want to do, it makes me want to beat my head against the wall.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't get it.
But that's one thing I have to say. Like I'm literally thinking about it more and more now. Like you have never complained once. No. Ever.
Well, even stemming off he said, it's just, I love it.
No, I know you do.
You know what I mean? Like, this is the passion that I have, and I'll do whatever I have to do to be at the top.
Yeah.
And you'll never hear me complain.
Yeah, that's one thing that I don't think anyone understands about this sport. Like what goes into it when you guys are not just training or, not eating. Like, this is every second of every day is this.
Every second counts.
Yeah. And you are, like, unreal with it. Like,
I said this on the first podcast with you. You have a childlike passion for bodybuilding.
I do, yeah.
And it's so refreshing. I mean, something else that I could share. My favorite response from you is okay with 2 exclamation points, because that's what I get most often in terms of when I change your diet. It's just okay with 2 exclamation points, like done deal. I'm excited.
That's it.
Changes change you. It's exciting to get them.
it's just really cool to see. It's very, very refreshing. Like when we first moved you down here, I remember talking to Matt, and I was like, yo, we just got to get him out of up there. Because, like, I know, like, the negativity, like, you were going through some shit, like, everyone was, like, getting on you, and I was like, yo, just just move to Florida. Like, surround yourself with people that you need to be surrounded by, and, like, don't worry about anything else. Just focus on bodybuilding. And, like, you're like, I mean, you moved quick, but it was...
Well, yeah, it was within a week.
Yeah. But it was, like, it has, I mean, you just, it worked.
It
you
did,
know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, it's...
Were you here for your whole Chicago prep?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last 6 weeks,
at my
yeah.
house and then down here,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a privilege to see you guys like do this. It makes me really happy, and like me and Matt, I'm sure you'll never hear enough from us enough, but we do appreciate the way you represent the brand and the sport.
Yeah, sure.
You know, we have no desire to bring, like, we had a conversation today. We were actually in the room, and Alyssa was in there, one of our athlete managers, and she was talking about bringing on new people, and I was like, I would rather just cater to the people we have more and not bring anyone else on, because I feel like we have so much value in our people already, and
I was going to say, it says something to the team you've built that you're able to say that.
Yeah. We just had the conversation, and I was like, I'm not interested in bringing anyone else on. I would much rather just take the people I have and really just run with those people.
Yeah.
Because I think there's so much more that we can do with them instead of just bringing another face to the brand. And I want you guys to be with us forever. Like, I'm not trying to, you know, have a 1-year contract. You guys are like part of my family forever. You know,
of course.
That's my goal, and that's what I hope happens.
Well, it's gonna happen.
No,
so.
I know, and we'll do whatever we can to make sure it does.
Definitely.
I don't think you guys realize how important you are in the sport and how many people do look up to you, and how many more people will continue to look up to you over the next 10, 15,
Yeah,
20
we're both
years.
just getting started.
I know.
Literally.
Just getting started.
Tip of the iceberg.
Okay, I'm done with my sentimental talk.
Dom, we both already have signed our contracts, man.
I know.
You don't got to butter us up anymore.
No, it's true.
Can I sign it again?
You got anything else?
I'm good.
Got
That's
anything
good.
else?
I'm
I know
good.
you got all kinds of stuff you want to say in there.
Well, yeah, but
Just keep it.
we can leave that for another
Yeah.
podcast.
Save that for Fuad.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Thank you guys for watching. Episode 8. We're out.
What'd you train
Bye.
today?